Good morning and welcome to Saturday, July 12th at your Delaware County 4-H Fair. Today we'll be live streaming the beef show. As we wait for our first class to come in, I'd like to first of all, thank all the volunteers involved with 4-H, 4-Hers, and youth, because without them, nothing would happen today. Truly appreciate all their time, energy, and help to make 4-H what it is here in Delaware County and Indiana. Would also like to thank the members of the Delaware County 4-H Council. Without their countless hours of hard work, none of the fair would be possible. So if you see any of these members, please feel free to thank them. And I would also like to thank the Delaware County 4-H Fairgrounds for their support. Without them, none of the buildings or anything would be here. And with that, we're going to start our Delaware County 4-H Fair beef show. Our class 1 is going to be, we're going to start today with our heifers. Our first one is our Angus heifer. In this class is Tanner Garrison.
For a cow show, and we're starting off the show with a really nice animal here. Young man's got an Angus heifer here. Man, when he gets this one parked, she gives you a really nice look from the side. The way she comes out high in that blade, just really long spined and extended. I really appreciate that about her. One, I think with time, as she gets a little further along in pregnancy, she's really going to drop down there and be a pretty nice show heifer. If I was going to change this one up, it'd all be right there at the surface. I'd like to relax that one under her heel and maybe square her up on those front two ever so slightly. But a really nice Angus heifer to start her show.
Your champion Angus heifer was exhibited by Tanner Garrison. Now entering the show ring will be our class of Peony heifers. Exhibited in this class will be Peyton Light.
just a single entry key here, but one that definitely could run with some competition, that's for sure. I think when we get to analyzing this one, I really like her in terms of her muscle and dimension. She's so well balanced, long hip. Again, another one extends out well in that front part of her skeleton. One that I think I'd like to maybe change her up just a touch structurally. Maybe like to set that knee back. And that's one when we ask her to go, she wants to get outside her skeleton ever so slightly. But it'll be fun to see how that one stacks up in a drive. Nice effort.
Your champion Canadian heifer is exhibited by Peyton Light. Now entering the ring will be Herefords. We'll start with our summer yearling heifers. Exhibiting in this class will be Savannah Durr, Arden Nelson, and Waylon Jester.
Differences we have to sort through. And I'm going to start with the young man's bigger heifer here to win the class. Yeah, she definitely has the advantage in terms of maturity, but when we get to analyzing that one, I think she's the most structurally correct, especially when you get right in behind the cattle. She's more expanded in that cage. She's more expanded in her skeleton. I like the way she balances up from the side. Maybe like to freshen that one up just a tick, but that's a good way to start this class off with. Coming out next, the pair of heifers are really similar in terms of a type and kind. I use the young lady's little bigger heifer here to win, to go ahead of that heifer in third. I think she has the advantage in both ends of that skeleton. I think her knee sets back just a little bit better than that heifer in third. I think when you get right in behind her, she's got more muscle over that top and maybe more expanding that skeleton. rounding out the class, one that maybe has the advantage in that front one-third of her body compared to that one ahead of her, just not enough power or flexibility off those front two to get up there with that second place heifer.
Results of your Hereford class heifers. First place is Waylon Jester. Second, Savannah Durr. And third, Arden Nelson. We will now be bringing our main and Jew heifers. Exhibiting in this class will be Parker Edgel, Trenner Garrison, Harrison Parker, Hallie Edgel, and JC Edgel. I apologize. There's only 3 entries in this class, and that would be Parker Edgel, Trenner Garrison, and Harrison Parker.
opinion. I think that one has as much reach and flex on both ends as that skeleton as anything we've seen. You put that one in motion, she's got a lot of reach and flex when you ask her to go. I sure like that about her. Really powerful when you get in there right in behind her. That's a nice heifer to start the class off with. Coming out next, the heifer in 2, if you wanted to switch these last pair, I wouldn't argue with you too long, but I use the one I'm more comfortable with in terms of her skeleton. I think she's more correct on both ends there, although she does get a little up in her top when you ask that one to go. The heifer that's going to round out the class just gets a little stilted on both ends for me. Like to relax that one, but I like the power that one has compared to the one right ahead of her.
So results of Class 4, your main end Jew heifer was first place Trenner Garrison, second Parker Edgel, and third Harrison Parker. We now have coming into the ring Class 5, your second class of main end Jew heifers. Exhibiting in this class is Allie Edgel and JC Edgel.
Heifers here, I think there's some differences when we get to analyzing these two. I like the young lady's heifer here to win the class. I think she does so. When you get off the side of there, she projects a better silhouette. She comes out of that blade a little better. And I think she's a little more comfortable off both ends in the heifer that's going to go too. She's one that maybe like to tone her down in that tail head ever so slightly, but I think she's got the most bone balance and foot of the class. Rather not the class, if you like them big, powerful, and heavy muscle, you could certainly tie to this one. But for me, she just gets a little smaller footed, a little smaller boned, and maybe just a little plainer in that front 1/3 of her body. Therefore, she doesn't balance up quite as nicely when you get on the side of the cattle.
First place in Class 5 is Allie Edgel. Second, JC Edgel. We will now exhibiting for our champion, main and you. Exhibiting in this class will be Trenner Garrison and Allie Edgell.
Back out here for our division drive. I guess the way I see him, that young man out of that first class has really got a big, powerful, broody kind of female there. One that's got a lot of athleticism. When we asked that one to go, she's really comfortable there at the surface. I sure appreciate that about her. She's also one, I think she's got the most center body compared to our two class winners. I appreciate that. When he gets her parked and she gets set up there, she really gives a nice silhouette from the side. That's one I like quite a bit. Young lady out of that second class, this is one that's probably got the advantage in that front one-third of her body. I think she's a little more neat and elegant up through that neck and through that throat latch, and maybe comes out just not higher in that blade. Maybe like to drop that one down just in the center of her body ever so slightly. With that said, I like those two class winners to be your champion and reserve in this particular division. Young man's going to be your champion. Young lady out of second class is going to be reserved.
Your champion, main and Jew heifer, was exhibited by Tenor Garrison, and reserve champion by Allie Edgell. Now entering the ring will be Class 6 Short Horn Plus heifers. Exhibiting in this class will be Macy Nixon and Ian Grubbs.
interesting pair of plus heifers here, and I think I switched them when they first came in. That young lady's heifer hit me awful hard, but I think the more we analyze them, the more this young man's calf wins handily, in my opinion. She is flatter muscle compared to that heifer that's going to go second, but in terms of her skeleton, she's more correct on both ends. I think she's got more swoop to that underline, gives us a more maternal look than that heifer that's going to go second. That's one I like quite a bit when we start to analyzing her. Young lady's heifer that's going to go second, extremely well presented, flashy kind of heifer. Just like to change that one up structurally. She wants to get outside of her hock when we ask that one to go. Maybe gets a little more bolder in her shoulder compared to our class winner, and not quite as much swoop and drop to that center portion of her body. Nice pair of Shorthorn plus heifers.
Your champion Shorthorn Plus heifer was exhibited by Ian Grubbs, and your reserve by Macy Nixon. Now entering the class would be Class 7, Semi-Solution Heifers. This is the first class of 2. In this class will be Rayleigh Cook.
Line makes her real attractive when she's parked. I like how extended she is in that front 1/3 of her body, although she does get a little bit crusty and pushing a little bit of chest for me. But I think where I'd like to change this one up most, just level that one out from her hooks to her pins. I think if we'd done so, she'd get a little more reach out of those back two and fill her tracks when we ask her to go.
Your champion in class, or winner in Class 7 is Rayleigh Cook with her Semi-Solution. We will now be exhibiting Class 8. Exhibiting in this class was Logan Lordinardi.
Young man, single entry here. She's one that when you view her from the side, I think she surprises you a little bit when you get right in behind the cattle. She's really stout made. I appreciate that about her. I like how bold she is in that rib cage, especially up high. Really bold and expanded in that forerib. You ask that when they go, she's comfortable on both ends. She's one that's really nice. Could definitely stand for the competition. We'll see how she stacks up in this particular division.
Your first in Class 8 was Logan Lardinardi. We will now be exhibiting for your Sim Solution heifer. In this class will be Rayleigh Cook and Logan Lardinardi.
In my opinion, that young lady's red heifer out of that first class definitely has advantage in terms of length of spine. I appreciate that about her. I like how deep she is in that lower one-third of her body. Again, maybe not quite as comfortable as the one right behind her in both ends of her skeleton, but that's a nice heifer out of that first class. Young man's black heifer out of the second class is one that, as I mentioned in class, you view that one from the side. You get right in behind her. She surprises you about how opened up she is and how much dimension she's got. Yeah, I'd be the first to admit I like to give that one a shot more bone and foot underneath of her, but she's well balanced. I think she's more attractive in the front one-third of her body. I think there's more longevity built into that heifer, therefore he'll be your champion. I'll follow it up the young lady out of first class to be reserved. Congratulations.
Your champion Simi Solution is exhibited Logan Lardinardi. Reserve champion Rayleigh Cook. We are now ready getting to exhibit our Semitol heifers. In this class is Curry Lambton.
I like a whole lot. She's really attractive made in the way she lays in the neck shoulder. She's deep middled. She's loaded with muscle. You get right in there behind her. She's expressive and dimensional. I think where I'd really like to change this one up is the way that hop functions. I'd like to soften that heel up a little bit, just free her up on those back two wheels, but a nice single entry there for the young lady.
Champion Simmental is the exhibit by Carly Lampton. Now we'll be starting our commercial heifers class. In class 10, we will have Tori Ward and Jacob Pugsley.
Pieces of each one, we can make a pretty darn good animal. But for me, the young lady's red heifer wins here pretty logically for me. I think she's more correct in terms of her skeleton. She's more attractive from the side, projects a more maternal look when she gets her set up. She looks pretty good coming out of that front 1/3 of her body. One that I might just lay that point of her shoulder in ever so slightly. And yeah, I'd like to power that one up, especially right there in the rear 1/3 of her body. But that's my speed of heifer for me. Young man's heifer that's going to go second, one from the middle back, maybe you can make an argument for winning the class, but one that just gets a little elevated there in the top of her shoulder, maybe gets a little bowed and plainer fronted, and because of that, throws her off in her profile ever so slightly.
Your winner in class 10 was Tori Ward. Second was Jacob Pugsley. We'll now be exhibiting class 11 of commercial heifers. In this class will be Nicholas Pugsley and Aiden Gesture.
Heifer sorts to the top pretty quickly for me. She's one from the side. She's so well balanced and proportional in her skeleton. Really gives you a nice silhouette when she gets that one part. You get right in behind the cattle. Boy, she's big and explosive over that top, yet still stays real feminine in her appearance. I think that heifer wins pretty handily among the pair for me. Young man that's going to round out the class, one that might have just a shot more athleticism when you ask that one to go compared to our class winner, but one when we get to analyzing her, she gets a little straight off both ends, and when we ask that one to go, she wants to get up in her top because of that. But a nice pair of heifers there.
Results of Class 11, your commercial heifers was first, Adlin Jester, and second was Nicholas Pugsley. We will now be exhibiting Class 12, our third class of commercial heifers. Exhibiting in this class will be Emma Miller and Charles Wright.
Well, a pair of heifers here that are certainly different in terms of her type and kind, and it makes my job kind of difficult because there's quality built into both of these. But the way I see them, the young lady wins the class for me. Just a more elegantly designed heifer. I love the center of her body. She's as deep as anything we've seen. Really attractive in that front 1/3 of her body. Maybe gets just a tick elevated down her shoulder. Maybe breaks right there, right behind it, up there in her forehead. But man, that thing's really pretty when she gets her stuck. Young man, it's going to go second. Man, if you like them powerful, big, bold, big bone, big footed, you certainly tie to this one. She's one that I like quite a bit. Maybe gets a little plainer fronted. In terms of our class winner, I think if we could clean that one up, maybe her chest and extend her out just a tick, I think she probably wins the class. Exceptional pair of heifers there in this particular class.
First place in Class 12 was Emma Miller. Second was exhibited by Charles Wright. We will now be exhibiting for our champion commercial heifer. Exhibiting in this class will be the winner from Class 10, Tori Ward, Class 11, Adlin Gesture, and Class 12, Emma Miller.
Well, certainly the most competitive and maybe the most quality we've seen all day in this particular commercial division. The way I see it, the young lady out of that first class with that red cap is one it's so elegant from the side. Really gives you a nice feminine look. Maybe not quite as powered up as the one right behind her. Maybe not quite as soft middled and maybe not quite as much natural muscle there in that rear 1/3 of her body compared to the one in front of her. Young lady out of that second class, man, if you like them big, powerful, yet still feminine, you can certainly tie this one. That's a calf that I like quite a bit. I think for me, I'd like to drop that one down just a tick in her middle and maybe just give her a little more authority on those back two when you ask that one to go. That's nitpicking a high quality heifer. Young lady's black heifer out of that last class is one that's so feminine when you read her from the side, so extended. I think when you get right in behind that one, I'd like to maybe open that one up just a shot in the top of that rib, and then into her forehead, make her blend out a little better when you view her from behind. And also when we ask that one to go, she comes up just a tick short on that back right and wants to get outside of her skeleton ever so slightly. With that said, I think it's a really tough decision for me today. I think there's two high quality individuals out here, but for me, that young lady down there, if that smoke class is going to be your champion, I followed up with the young lady with the black cap to be reserved.
Your champion commercial heifer was exhibited by Aiden Gesture. Reserve champion was Emma Miller. We will now be exhibiting for our grand champion supreme heifer. Exhibiting in this class will be Tanner Garrison with his Angus heifer, Peyton Light with the Keanean heifer, Waylon Jester with the Hereford heifer, Main Anjou by Tanner Garrison, Shorthorn Plus by Ian Grubbs, Semi Solution by Logan Lunardi, Semitol exhibited by Carly Lampton, and your commercial heifer by Adeline Gesture.
Let's give these young exhibitors a big round of applause for some awesome cattle and doing an awesome job out here today to get them shown. For me, I like cattle that are functional. I think they have to have a lot of longevity built into those cattle first and foremost, because I truly believe whether we're raising commercial cattle, seed stock, or show cattle, they have to go home and be productive and make us a lot of money. And I think even show cattle need to be functionally sound. And from there, I think they need to have some mass and with the skeleton to them. We need something to pass on to that next generation. And from there, I think these are still show cattle. I like, when I go out in the pasture at home, I like to look at pretty cattle. I like nice tail head sets. I like them to come out high on their blade and be attractive in that front 1/3 of their body. With that said, I think there's 3 animals I've seen today that fit the bill for me fairly well, and I have that sorted out in my mind. And I think for 4th and 5th, we could go a couple of different ways. So I'll go out and I'll show you how I like them 1 through 3, then we'll find your 4th and 5th with one more look. Again, let's give them one more big round of applause.
Sponsored by Cindy Jeffrey in memory of Alex Gillis.
Our Grand Champion Supreme Heifer exhibited by Adeline Chester.
That brings
The reserve Grand Champion Supreme Heifer goes to Emma Miller. Third place goes to Peyton Light. Fourth place goes to Jacob Pugsley. And fifth goes to Ian Grubbs. Correction. Fourth place was Trenner Garrison. It was exhibited by Jacob Pugsley. We'll have a short break as allow for photos of our winners, and then we'll start with our feeder calves.
Good job, buddy.
We're now starting our dairy feeder calf, and we have one exhibitor, Joey McVeigh.
Switching gears here in our feeder calf show, we're going to start with the young man's dairy calf here. He's one we get to analyze him in terms of his skeleton. He's really correct. I love how he slopes, the slope to his shoulders, nice long level hip, good spine, soft middle, reads with a lot of feedability meat. You get right in behind the cattle. He's got some width and dimension over that top as well. A really good way to start our feeder calf class.
Your champion dairy feeder. It was exhibited by Joey McVeigh. We will now start class 14. Our prospect steers. Ex- Exhibiting in this class is Trainer Garrison, Luke Nixon, and Caitlin Gann.
An interesting class of feeders here to sort, and I think the young man's white calf is a logical winner for me. You get off the side of him, he's soft middle, he's good structured. I'd like to change him up there in his shoulder. He gets a tick short and maybe a tick bold right there in his shoulder, and as I project out, that worries me just a little bit. But I think he's got more muscle over the top, and I think where he really excels, he's got more turn to that loin when you get right in behind him. I think the race is for second for me. Young lady's calf is going to go two. I think he's more powerful over his top. I think he's more explosive in that hip. I'll be the first to admit he gets straight in his shoulder and maybe wants to run downhill in his hop, and because of that, wants to get up in his top ever so slightly. Young man's calf that's going to go there definitely gives up some maturity, but one that I like quite a bit in terms of his skeleton, maybe the best out of the trio, just giving up some bone and power, and as we project out, I don't think he's going to be as big and explosive as these calves that's right ahead of him.
Our champion prospects here is Trainer Garrison.
Your champion prospects here was exhibited by Trainer Garrison. Reserve champion was Caitlin Gann. And third was Luke Nixon. We will now have our first of two classes of prospect actors. Exhibiting in our first class will be Parker Edgel, Trainer Garrison, and Emery Lombard.
a class of three prospect heifers here that I think sort pretty logically for me. Young man in the cowboy hat wins class very handily. She's just beautiful when you view that one from the side. So maternal in her look. Got a lot of swoop to that underline already. One, if you ask that one to go, she's got a lot of athleticism built into that skeleton. Going to be a whole lot of fun to see how that one progresses on down the road. I think between 2 and 3, I'm going to use the young man's calf here to go second. I think she does so just in terms of her skeleton. I think she's more correct on both ends. I think she's more level across her top line than that heifer that's going to go third. The heifer that's going to go third, probably the most powerful of the three, just gets a little stilted on both ends for me and like to just soften her up in her middle just a touch to get her up any higher.
Results of Class 15 was first Trainer Garrison, second Parker Edgel, third Emery Lombard.
Third place, Emery Lombard. We're now ready for class 16 in our prospect heifer division.
Now will be our second class of prospect heifers. Exhibiting in this class will be Lyndon Mitchell, Cindy Parks, Caitlin Gann, and Jaylee Cook.
And Jaylee
Another class that's very interesting to sort through, and I think it's pretty close in this top pair. Then I think it gets close again down there in that bottom pair. And I think when these two hit the ring, I had them flip flop, but I think the young lady with the black cap wins the class pretty handily once we get to analyzing this one. I'll be the first to admit she gets a little rounded in terms of her pattern compared to that one that goes second. But when we ask this one to go, she goes off with more authority on both ends than that brothel face cap. Young lady's cap that's going to go second on the standstill. I think she wins the class all day. So attractive the way she balances out and the way she comes out high in that blade. My problem with that one, when we ask one to go, we just need to free that one up on both ends. I think she gets a little straight in that shoulder for me. Coming out next, I think it gets pretty close on this pair. The young lady that's going to go third, I think she gets there in terms of her skeleton. I think she's more correctly designed. I think she's more attractive from the side. I love how soft that one is at the surface. Young lady that's going to round out the class, one that's got a lot of natural muscle, one that just wants to slope off just a tick from her hooks to her pins. And because of that, when we ask that one to go, she wants to get under herself ever so slightly.
Congratulations to your winner of Class 16, Caitlin Gann. Second was Jay Lee Cook. Third, Lyndon Mitchell. And fourth, Sydney Parks. We'll now exhibit for our champion prospect heifer. We'll bring in our winner, Triner Garrison from Class 15. And your winner from Class 16, Caitlin Gann. Also will be in the ring will be the reserve in Class 15, Parker Edgell, and the reserve in Class 16, Jay Lee Cook.
Is probably the most attractive calf I've seen all day, just in terms of her profile. Man, when that one gets stuck and cocks off, man, she is really attractive there from the side. So well balanced. I love the swoop she's got to that underline. I think if I was going to pick that one apart at all, I'd like to change her up from her hop down to her surface. I like to square her up there just a nickel. Young lady out of that second class has got the calf that's probably got more natural muscle in terms of her body compared to that one right in front of her. Maybe not quite the bells and whistles the one, but one that's got a whole lot of future built into her. That's one I like quite a bit. With that said, I'm going to keep these paired together. Use the young man out of first class be your champion, follow it up with the young lady be reserved. Congratulations.
Congratulations to your champion prospect heifer of Triner Garrison. And your reserve champion was exhibited by Caitlin Gann. Congratulations to our champion prospect heifer, exhibited by Triner Garrison, and reserve champion exhibited by Caitlin Gann. We'll now transition into our cow-calf show. Our first class will be Class 17. Exhibiting in this class will be Riley Cook, Allie Edgell, JC Edgell, and Caitlin Gann.
their class. I think I had the top pair flipped around when they first hit the ring, but the more I study them, the more I like this red cow. And I think her advantages lie in her teat structure. I think she's got more ideal size right there in her quarters compared to the one that's going to go second. She's certainly more attractive in that front 1/3 of her body. Maybe like to drop that one down just a tick in that center portion of her body up through her flank. Maybe give a shot more dimension to that rear 1/3. But that's a nice pair there to win the class. Young lady with the black cow that's going to go second. I think if we could refine those teat size and maybe tone that tail head down a little bit, maybe gets a little plainer compared to our class winner. But again, that's a really good pair there that's going to go second. I think 3 and 4 gets pretty close in my opinion. If you want to flip-flop these, I sure wouldn't argue with you. But the way I see in the young lady with the white-faced cow, I think she's just more correct in terms of her skeleton when we get off the side of the cattle and start studying that one. I think we asked that one to go. She's more relaxed in her spine than compared to the calf that's going to go fourth. The cow that's going to go fourth, one that's given up some condition compared to the ones that ahead of her, not going to take that away from her because that calf's doing awful well. One I just like to soften up in terms of that middle portion of her body, maybe relax her in terms of her skeleton, and you get that one up a notch higher.
Placings for Class 17 was Caitlin Gann, second, Rayleigh Cook, followed by Allie Edgell in third, and JC Edgell in fourth. We will now have our second class of cow-calf pairs, Class 18. The exhibit in this class is Caitlin Gann, Isaac Mitchell, and Annabelle Parker.
in this class of pairs, I think we got some more give and take from top to bottom compared to our last class. But for me, the white-faced cow, the more I analyze her, the more I like her. I think she's more correct in her skeleton. I think when we asked that one to go, she's got a shot more athleticism on both ends. I sure would like to tweak her udder shape and type up there a little bit. She's getting up there a little bit in age, but that's a really nice pair to start our class off with. The young lady's pair that's going to go second, one that's really expanded in terms of her skeleton. I love when we get right in behind the cattle. She's so opened up, especially in that forerib. Just when we ask that one to go, I'd like her to get off those back two with a shot more authority compared to our class winner. Rounding out the class, a pair that when we get to analyzing this one from the side, she gets a little plainer fronting compared to those two ahead of her. Maybe jets up in that flank ever so slightly, gives her puts her off in her silhouette ever so slightly compared to the two ahead of her. But a nice trio of pairs there in this particular class.
Results of Class 18. First goes to Isaac Mills. Second, Caitlin Gann. And third, Annabelle Parker. We will now be exhibiting for our champion cow-calf pair. From Class 17, we will have Caitlin Gann, and Class 18, Isaac Mitchell.
When we get our pairs back out here for champion and get to analyzing them, I think we have some differences we have to sort through. That red pair out of that first class is one that I really like from the middle forward. Really well designed in her structure, beautiful in the front 1/3, the way she extends out. Again, maybe you'd like to give her just a shot more rib there when you get right in on the side of the cattle. Maybe not quite as much dimension in that rear 1/3, but I think she's really long and level across her top line and doing a heck of a job with that calf. I really like that bull calf she's got on her side. Young man's white-faced cow here out of the second class is one that's got a little more age on her, but when we get to analyzing her, again, another one I really like the way her shoulder's constructed. Again, like that out of that first class, really attractive and extended out of that front 1/3. Maybe wants to run downhill just a shot from her hooks to her pins compared to the one right behind her, but that's a really nice pair. With that said, I'm going to use the young lady with the red cap to be your champion, followed up with the white-faced to be your reserve.
Congratulations to Caitlin Gann for showing your champion cow-calf pair. Reserve goes to Isaac Miller. Now begin our steer show. We're going to start with our dairy steer class. Exhibiting in this class will be Price Forest.
Heck of a way to start off our steer show with. And I tell you what, this dairy steer is pretty darn good, man. He's really attractive from the side. I love the way he's built in terms of his skeleton. He's so long hipped and the way he ties down into that twist. So good in his shoulder. That's a really nice critter there. That's one I like quite a bit. Congratulations on a nice steer.
Your champion dairy steer was exhibited by Price Forest. Next, we will have our Angus class of steers. Exhibiting in this class will be Sean Gould.
For our next
Just a single entry Angus steer here, but one that's definitely going to run with him when we get back out here for the drive. Man, this thing's wicked good from the profile when he gets him stuck. You get in behind him, he's really got some width and dimension over that loin. Long and level hip, comes down deep into that twist. Really fresh in his condition. He handles nicely. That's one I like quite a bit. If I was going to pick him apart a little bit, when you set that one in motion, he wants to get up on his toes ever so slightly. But that's a really fun way to start our steer show.
Congratulations to Sean Gould for exhibiting our champion Angus steer. Next will be Class 21 Kenyan steers. Exhibiting in this class will be Lily Howell.
Nice representation of the key division here is a steer from the middle forward I really like. He's so attractive and extended in that front 1/3 of his body. Love how flat shouldered he is. If I could change that one up, I think that one needs to be lengthened up from his hooks to his pins there in that rear quarter. I think he'd level out a little bit, and then we'd ask that one to go. He'd get around with the ring with a shot more authority in those back two.
Your champion Kenyan steer was exhibited by Lily Howell. Our next class will be Class 22, will be Hereford steer, exhibited by Elijah Durer.
Young man steer's got another one here. I think when you view this one from the profile and then get right in behind the cattle, he surprised you a little bit. He's got some shape and turn to that top. You get him behind him, he's got some width up through that hip. I appreciate that about him. You ask for that one to go. He's got a lot of reach and flex off both ends. Maybe gets a little plainer fronted compared to some of the others we've seen today, but a good single entry there for the young man.
Your champion Hereford steer was exhibited by Elijah Durer. Next, we'll transition to our main Anjou steers. In Class 23, we have Harrison Parker and Alabella Parker.
Pair of steers here that are very similar in terms of their type and kind, maybe just get a touch exotic in their build. But the young man for me is going to win the class, and I think he does so in terms of structure. I think this one's more correct on both ends. When we ask this one to go, he's a little more softer there at the surface compared to that steer that's going to go second. Steer that's going to go second, I'll be the first to admit, it's got more natural muscle than the steer that wins the class. Just gets a little rounded and is designed for me. And we asked that one to go. He wants to get up on his toes ever so slightly, but a nice pair of steers there in this class.
Congratulations to Harrison Parker for first place in Class 23 Mean Anjou Steers. Second is Annabelle Parker. Next would be Class 24. Exhibiting in this class will be Isaac Mitchell.
A single entry that's just really proportional in terms of his bone and footwork. One that's got a lot of muscle. You get right in there behind him. I really like how big his top is, how explosive he is in his hip. One that maybe like just to level out ever so slightly there from his hooks to his pins, and maybe like to free him up there in his back too when we ask him to go.
Our first place in class.
First place in Class 24, Isaac Mitchell. Next, we'll have our third class of Mean Anjou Steers, Class 25. Exhibiting in this class will be Luke Powers and Haley Fishers.
Young lady steer sorts his way to the top pretty quickly for me. He's one that when he's parked, he's just outstanding in terms of profile. So well balanced. I really like him in terms of his condition. You get behind him, he's really explosive. He handles really nicely. That's a nice steer. Like to free him up on both ends. That's nitpicking a pretty good one. Young man that's going to go too. That's a nice steer in his own right. Just ran into a really good one. I think if we could give that one just a few more bells and whistles and maybe soften him up on those rear pasterns, he can make a run at that class winner.
Your winner of Class 25 was Haley Fishers. Second was Luke Powers.
We'll now bring in
We will now exhibit for your champion main and Jew steer from Class 23, be Harrison Parker. Also from Class 24, Isaac Mitchell. And winner of Class 25 will be Haley Fisher.
The typing kind of the one that stands right behind him, long and level over his top, like to maybe just level him out there from his hooks, his pins, and shot, gets about the ring adequately. Young man out of that second class, maybe a little more powered up version compared to that one right ahead of him. Again, one that I like quite a bit. Young lady out of that third class has kind of got the heater in this particular division. Really flat shouldered, smooth made. When she gets that one parked, he's pretty darn good. Like I mentioned in class, like to free that one up ever so slightly, but I think she wins this particular division pretty handily. Congratulations.
Your champion main and Jew exhibited by Haley Fisher will bring in Luke Powers with his second place main and Jew from Class 25.
To our division winner is one that I like quite a bit. I think he most closely resembles our winner. I'm going to keep that pair together and he'll be reserved. Congratulations.
Your reserve champion goes to Luke Powers. Next, we will have our Scimitar steers. Exhibiting in this class will be Anna Howell.
single entry semi here. One that really balances up nicely from the side. I like how soft middle he is. He's attractive in that front third of his body. Maybe like to give him just a shot more bone and foot to go with all that mass and dimension. Really like how explosive he is down into that hawk, into that twist. Be fun to see how that one stacks up in the drive.
Congratulations to Anna Howe with the champion Samatos steer. Next, we'll have our market heifers. In our first class, we have three exhibitors: Nicholas Pugsley, Jacob Pugsley, and Charles Wright.
Jacob Pugsley,
I think there's a give and take between all three. I'm going to use the young man's black heifer to go on and win the class, and I think she does so just in terms of sheer quality. I think she puts the most good together for me. I really love this one when it's parked. Well, although I'll be the first to admit, I like to give that one just a shot more foot and bone underneath of her. And when we ask that one to go, I'd like her to sit down on her heel just a little more softly. Coming out next between 2 and 3, I think it gets pretty close. I used a young man in the blue to go second. I like that heifer the way she ties down into her twist a little bit better than that heifer that's going to go third. I think she's got more power built into that skeleton than the heifer that's going to go third. The heifer that is third, I think she's got more reach and flex on both ends of that skeleton, just like to pull her apart in that forerib and maybe pull her down into that twist and flank ever so slightly to get her up a spot.
we're now bringing in class
Results of Class 27. First was Charles Wright. Second, Jacob Pugsley. Third, Nicholas Pugsley. We'll now have our second class of market heifers. Exhibiting in this class is Trainer Garrison and Caitlin Gann.
not going to ask them to walk around too much, and I think I have my mind made up. This smoke calf I like quite a bit. I think she's one that maybe when we talk about market heifers versus steer mamas, I think this one's got steer mama written all over. We asked that one to go. Man, she's so soft right there, good surface. She's long spined and attractive in the front 1/3 of her body. That's a heifer I like quite a bit. Young ladies have a red heifer down there in the end. That's a good heifer in her own right when we get to studying that one. I think if we could just tweak that one ever so slightly right there in her chest and maybe level her out from her hooks to her pins, tone that tail head down a little bit, she makes a run at the class winner. Congratulations on a nice pair.
Your winner at Class 28 is Trainer Gann. Second was Trainer Garrison. Your second was Caitlin Gann. We're now exhibiting for your champion market heifer. From the first class, we will have Charles Wright. And from Class 28, Tanner Garrison.
This is sponsored by Austin Shire.
We have to sort through, and I think it comes down to what you like. For me, the young man out of that first class, I think that heifer's more geared towards the market class. I think she's more terminal in her type and design. I think she reads with more width and dimension over her top up to her hip. I think she's more attractive in that front 1/3 of her body. Where I struggle with that black calf is when we asked that one to go. I wish she had a little more foot and bone under her. I wish she was just a touch more softer in that heel, but that's a pretty nice calf there. That young man out of that second class, like I spoke in class, that's a steer mama if I ever seen one. So good in her skeleton. She has the advantage when she goes. She's softer to surface. I think she's got more reach and flex on the both ends, but she is giving up some power and width and dimension compared to that black calf. So I think it comes down to what you like. For me today, I'm going to use that young man with the black calf to be your champion. Then we'll find your result. Congratulations.
Your champion market heifer was exhibited by Charles Wright.
Our second place from Class 27, Jacob Pugsley.
And then we'll bring in Jacob Pugsley, the second in Class 27, to compete for your reserve champion. Your reserve champion, exhibited by Trainer Garrison. Next, get ready to exhibit for Class 29, our slick steer. Exhibiting in this class will be Peyton Light.
In a particular slick here division here, one that definitely could stand some competition. There's a lot of quality built into this animal. One, it's really attractive on the stand still. He's so neat and fresh up through that 1/3 of his body. Maybe not quite as market ready as some of those seen today. Got some gas left in the tank. I think if I wanted to tweak this one ever so slightly, it'd be right there in his hop. He gets just a tick straight for me. I think if we gave him just a shot more set, he'd get off those back two a little better when we asked that one to go.
Champion Slick Steer was exhibited by Peyton Light.
We are now ready for
Now exhibiting our Class 30, or crossbred steers. In this class, Amelia Howe, Tori Ward, and Brady Taylor.
The class of 3 steers, when we get to analyzing them, I think they sort pretty logically, in my opinion. Young man steer wins the class pretty handily. He's the biggest hop. He's the most explosive in his hip. He's the most expanded in his skeleton. I think he's the most comfortable on both ends of that skeleton when we ask that one to go. Really like how low and powerful he ties down into that twist. Coming between second and third, I think it gets a little bit closer in my opinion. I think the young lady in the pink that's going to go second, I think that one's more comfortable in terms of his skeleton than that steer that goes second. He is giving up a little power, especially over that top, that steer that's right behind him, but I think he's more comfortable. I think he's got more bone and natural foot underneath of him. Young lady that's going to go second or third, the big frame steer here, one that's really explosive over that top into that loin. One that just gets a little stilted on both ends for me, and we ask that one to go. He's just not as comfortable as those 2 steers ahead of him.
Our champion cross
Champion broad crossbred steer was exhibited by Brady Taylor. Second was Amelia Howe, and third was Tori Ward. Now entering the ring is our breed champions for our
Lily Powell.
grand champion market steer.
We have our Gerber.
In this class, exhibiting from class 19 with the dairy steer is Price Forbes.
Is our
Our
main
Angus exhibitor from class 20 is Sean Gould.
from class 26. We have
Class 21 Kenyan steer was exhibited by Lily Howe. Our champion Hereford is exhibited by Elijah Durr. Our champion Mainanju is exhibited by Haley Fisher. Champion Semitol is being exhibited by Anna Howe.
We will be selecting a grand champion for fit overall market animal. Please give these kids.
Charles Wright is exhibiting our champion Market Heifer. Peyton Light is exhibiting the champion Slick Steer. And our champion Crossbred exhibited by Brady Taylor.
awesome animals, an awesome job of getting these things shown. I think for me today, there's a couple out here that pretty dang close as far as your grand and reserve go. Then for third through fifth, I think it gets pretty close. There's a couple of different ways you can go, but the way I see them, there's a couple that hit me pretty hard. Again, let's give them a big round of applause while I go out and show you how I like them.
That will bring in Amelia Howell.
So your grand champion
We also have
steer was Haley Fisher. That'll bring in Luke Powers as a reserve. The second for reserve. Your reserve champion was Brady Taylor, bringing in Amelia Ward. Or Amelia Howe. Pardon me. Amelia Howe. Third overall was Sean Gould with the champion Angus. Fourth was Peyton Light with his slick steer. Fifth overall was Lily Howe with her key steer. Congratulations to all exhibitors. We'll now have a short break as photos will be taken and be prepared for the showmanship. I want to thank several of our sponsors for Delaware County 4-H. This includes Martin Insurance, Cowpokes and Anderson, Ritchie Farms, T&M Custom Homes, Delaware County Soil and Water Conservation District, Rural King in Muncie, Mike King Heating and Cooling. A big thank you to Keystone Cooperative for their support of Delaware County and 4-H. Bakken Trophies and Laser Engravings. Matthews Grain. McAllister Machinery, located at 69 at Yorktown. Also like to thank Delaware County Farm Bureau, Howell Farms, Bobcat of Anderson, the Andersons with locations at Oakville and Dunkirk, Ag Best in Muncie, Gaston, Dunkirk, and Hartford City. Also like to thank Nixon Farming for their support. Gillis Farm, Scheidler Grain, and Farmland Locker. We truly appreciate all your support and help from all the sponsors and look for making the Delaware County 4-H Fair what it is. Also like to thank the Delaware County Fairgrounds for their sponsorship and support. Purdue Extension for all they work they do throughout the year. Also like to thank the Delaware County 4-H Council, which volunteers time to make sure the entire fair goes off as smoothly as it does. And finally, for all the volunteers that help make 4-H and everything happen.
Beginner showmanship.
We will now restart with our beginner showmanship. This will be class 31. Exhibiting in the first class will be Bryce Forrest, Annabelle Parker, Whale, Lyndon Mitchell, and Charles Wright. Also, Trainer Garrison is in this class. So we have Bryce Forrest, Annabelle Parker, Lyndon Mitchell, Charles Wright, and Trainer Garrison.
pretty much every day back home after we work the calves. I think it's absolutely critical to getting one exhibited properly. You can take a really good calf and make it look bad really quick. But for me, I like to keep showmanship simple. I want that calf to look its best as soon as it hits the ring and keep it looking its best. And outside from that, we want to make the job easy on the judge. And what I mean by that is you want proper spacing and you want to use all the ring. As an evaluator, you want to be off the animal. You don't want them right on top of you because it's harder to see that animal when you're right in front of it. So you want a good view of that animal. And then if you're nose to rail, you want that animal square and spaced out properly so that judge can get a good look. And when he starts comparing those animals, and the same goes for if you're nose to tail, you want good spacing and you want that animal lined up on that imaginary line that you can kind of make in your head. I think all these exhibitors do a really nice job, but in this heat, I'm going to ask these three individuals to come back for the final drive. Let's give them a big round of applause.
The three that will be competing for your champion beginner showman will be Annabelle Parker, Charles Wright, and Turner Garrison. Next will be our second class of beginner showmen, Sydney Parks, Adeline Jester, Harrison Parker, Luke Nixon, and Emery Lombard.
another good heat of beginners here. Cattle getting a little ornery and starting to get a little hot today. But for me, I think these three exhibitors standing right out here in front of me doing an exceptional job. I'm going to ask them to come back in this particular division. Again, congratulations.
The honor group for Class 32 includes Adeline Chester, Harrison Parker, and Luke Nixon.
Charles Wright.
We will now be exhibiting for your champion beginner showman.
32. We have
From Class 31, Annabelle Parker,
Harrison
Charles
Parker.
Wright, and Tanner Garrison.
This is for champion.
And Class 32, Annalyn Jester, Harrison Parker, and Luke Nixon.
In showmanship, like I spoke in that first class, I think it's pretty important to have that calf looking the best it can look as soon as it hits the ring, and up until the time it leaves the ring. And I'm a big believer in using that stick as little as possible. We really like to walk them cattle into place, and if you need to adjust some feet, maybe pull it forward a half a step. With that said, I think there's two, maybe even three individuals out here that do just an exceptional job of getting their animals shown. Let's give them a big round of applause while I go shake the hand of your champion in reserve. Congrats, my man. Excellent job. Excellent
Thank
job.
you. Our champion beginner showman goes to Charles Wright.
Good job, kiddo.
And reserve champion goes to Adeline Jester. Congratulations, both of those exhibitors.
Our champion award
Congratulations to your champion beginner showman, Charles Wright, and your reserve champion is Adeline Gesture. Now entering the ring is our intermediate showmanship division. Exhibiting in this class will be Haley Fisher, Emma Miller, and Jacob Pugsley.
Well, not a lot of numbers in this particular division, but we sure stepped up the quality in terms of ability. I think all three of these showmen do an excellent job. Unfortunately, I just got to pick a champion in reserve, and I think the races for reserve in this particular division, there's one individual out here that sorts their way to the top pretty quickly for me. Let's give him a big round of applause while I go show you how I like him.
Your champion intermediate showman was Emma Miller, and your reserve champion is Haley Fisher.
Macy Nixon and Caitlin Gann.
Exhibiting for senior showman today will be Ian Grubbs, Amelia Howell, Hannah Howell, Macy Nixon, and Caitlin Gann.
senior division showmanship here. I think there's two individuals out here that sort their way to the top pretty quickly for me. They each do some things differently. One does something maybe a little better than the other. I guess it comes down to what you like. But again, let's give them a big round of applause, and I'll go shake the hand of your winner and find your reserve.
Caitlin Dean. Congratulations to all of these exhibitors today. Let's show our appreciation for what all these people
Congrats,
have
man. Way to hang in there.
last time. Please give them a round of applause.
There's no overall showmanship.